Great. So I'm going to be talking about how we can fund space exploration using online native Rails. In this talk, I will kind of attempt to maybe not piss off necessarily, but go through some of the ways that we fund space and kind of look at their limitations and how we could potentially improve them, especially things that, and I want to be very specific about what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about funding any sort of space research or exploration. I'm talking about things that are sort of superlatives for the human race, things that are very long time horizon, that require a lot of capital, basically need a sustained funding for a long period of time. So these are the things that I think push the human race forward. They're extremely exciting, and so yeah, that's what I think we should be funding. But the question is, how should we fund that? Carol already went into my background, but I guess these are things I've done, but they're also my limitations or my own like biases, and so I've spent time in academia, I've spent time in industry, and then I've also spent time in the DAO world. So of course, solutions that I find will kind of be influenced by this. I was a part of a few big DAO fundraisers. I worked in big tech, but then also spent a lot of time doing research. So yeah, this is kind of where I'm coming from, I guess. And what I've spent a good deal of time on over the past 4 years is on MoonDAO. This started as a crowd raise to send people to space, and then quickly evolved to fund tons and tons of space projects. We funded over 85 projects. We sent 2 people to space. But what I'm most proud of is that we were able to take something that was very kind of nascent, especially in 2021, this idea of a DAO, and then actually follow through with it, which a lot of other organizations did not. There were many DAOs in 2021, and MoonDAO has really worked tirelessly in order to deliver on the promises of DAOs. And it's been a really fascinating and fun ride, but you know, there's a lot that goes into this sort of stuff. So let's dive in. So okay, why are we here? Why do we want to fund space? What are the reasons for doing this sort of thing? I've kind of bucketed into 4 main things. One is the economic reality. Some people ask me, you know, is there a big opportunity in space? Well, of course there is. The majority of resources and energy are off-world. We could talk about precious metals. We could talk about so many different ways that, or resources that are out there in the heavens. We're still figuring out how to bring them back, but once we do, I think that will mint the first trillionaire on Earth. And so there's really a lot of economic opportunity to be unlocked in the long term. It's also kind of this ultimate technological frontier. And every time we do something that we've never done before, we invent new technology in order to do so. And a lot of that technology improves our lives here on Earth, but is also a very big innovation engine, essentially. And this is not only transformational in terms of like business and economic terms, but then also it is something that kind of advances our society, which is, you know, incredible. There's a strategic imperative, so it's the ultimate high ground. So it's important for sort of this, you know, there's a military aspect to this. You know, whoever kind of controls the seas on Earth is one of the more powerful nations. Of course, you need to control the seas to have an empire, and now the seas will extend into space. So whoever has control over space will influence a lot of what happens on Earth. That's a you know, important reason for making sure that you know, the people that go into space have a lot of weight on their shoulders in terms of the power and responsibility that will be theirs. And then also this influences our civilizational foresight. So by that I mean, if we're looking at things like what the Club of Rome was saying, that we're growing on a limited Earth with limited resources, so therefore we need to implement these sort of like degrowth initiatives. I think this is actually very scary for some people, and it worries them that we're going to reach the carrying capacity of the Earth. But of course, this isn't true if we go into space and extend our civilization to the stars, to Mars, the moon, and so on. And that's a much more inspirational future. It's one where we're growing, we're extending the scope and scale of consciousness, as Elon likes to say. And yeah, this is the sort of acceleration timeline. This is the let's go out and explore. This is much more exciting as a future than to just say this is all there is. So we need to slow down. But the big question is, how do we make this future possible? And at the end of the day, funding is kind of the forcing function for these types of things. And so ultimately, it is the financiers of this future that will not only ultimately control and govern these entities that capture this quote unquote market share, but also will be the ones deciding what to build and how to build it. So we need to look very carefully at sort of these financial models and look at their implications in terms of how they affect the future. Because a lot of these projects require a lot of capital. So you can't just start it in your in your basement or something. You can't just work out of a garage. Oftentimes, these need billions of dollars in order to get off the ground. So the financing is really crucial. And so, like Frank was mentioning, the government has really been the main financier of space. Even when we're looking at commercial space, a lot of them are receiving very large government contracts. We went from the cost plus model to maybe a more competitive model now, but still, they're the major financier of this whole industry, and for good reasons, because they have the infinite money glitch with Keynesian economics. You just print as much money as you want, so they so they can debase the dollar, like we're saying now. But I won't get into all of that. But anyways, they can print a lot of money, so they've got a lot of money, and then on top of that, there's geopolitical sort of competition. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of military reasons for why we want to have dominance in space as a nation. So you can kind of use that to your advantage, and raise a lot of money that for these sort of like dual use capabilities that support the military, but then also might have a business plan attached to it. And so that those seem to be doing pretty well. But there are cons to this, of course. One is, every 4 years, there's a new administration, at least in the United States. So priorities shift or can shift very dramatically. It kind of overrides maybe practical considerations around, what we're doing. It can devolve into a bit of a jobs program. The self-licking ice cream cone, like Pete Warden likes to say. And then also, there's kind of just an excessive amount of bureaucracy in government, waste, fraud, and abuse. We've kind of heard this story, and unfortunately, it's just very difficult when you have such a large organization that controls so much money. This is going to happen. So, well, that's one model. What if we kind of take a lot of the maybe operations, the innovation side of things, and then we give it over to industry? And that's kind of what we've seen in the sort of second space age that Frank mentioned, which is great. I mean, they can take a lot of risks. They have zero bureaucracy. They're kind of willing to bet a lot of the money that they've made from other ventures Like, Jeff can pour his wealth from Amazon into Blue Origin. Elon can pour his wealth from all of his other ventures into space. It's great to have a billionaire as a founder, because you have a big chest to work with in terms of money, and then you can also get money from government as well. But there's a few risks here too. One is that there's centralization risk. Like Kanye West likes to say, not one man should have all that power, and it's going to be a lot of power. So we need to look very closely at the sort of corporate governance of these companies, and determine whether or not this is maybe centralization risk, or kind of there's when one group or one person has so much power, it's kind of like the ring in Lord of the Rings, right? It has a mind of its own. So and I think this is also in some ways kind of unpopular. People scoff at the idea of this sort of cowboy billionaire going into space, and say, okay, well, why are you spending all this money when we have all these problems here on Earth? And we should actually take this very seriously, because we want people to feel inspired by space and feel as though that it is making their lives better. And I think that there are many people that have real gripes with what's going on in space, and this is actually quite serious, because a lot of the money from space comes from tax dollars. So public opinion can and should matter. And then yeah, I've already talked about power concentration there. So another kind of model to look at is VC, and I think that this is there are some venture capitalists that are joining us today. I look forward to hearing their talks, and for them also to say maybe what I've put here is incorrect. But I think when we're talking about these like very, very long time horizon, extremely capital intensive sort of endeavors, it becomes very difficult to compete with the B2B SaaS AI risk return profile. So a lot more funding is likely to go to things that are maybe more short term, that are maybe taking a capability that was developed with a ton of capital, and then turning it into something that can be scaled, done rapidly. And I think this is great. This is great, but I see it as sort of maybe the tail of innovation, where you're taking something and then turning it into a business. And so these sort of things seem to need more short-term return on investment. And it's great for taking the stuff that works and then making it even better. But I think for the category of things that I'm talking about, it's difficult to rally the sort of venture capital funding. So and maybe just to be more specific, I'm talking about things like a long-term sustained human presence on the moon. Maybe there are certain technologies within that broad category that can be turned into businesses. But ultimately, this is likely a $1 trillion project, and so a lot of funding will need to be raised. So, and it will take a very long time. So suffices to say that we need better models. So models that can raise at least 100 million to $1 billion plus, that distribute risk well, that care maybe about the return on inspiration, like Frank was saying, versus return on investment in the short term, that maybe can become good stewards of power, and can attract and retain high pay talent. This is also important. You want to be able to incentivize people and have them win with you, and also models that are resistant to the fraud, waste, abuse, bureaucracy, etc. And so the question now becomes, okay, where can we look to find these models? Maybe we can look at nonprofits, or sort of like the institutional model. They also have their pros and cons. Maybe they can't necessarily recruit the level of funding necessary. Maybe it's harder to incentivize and retain employees because they don't get equity. There's a high compliance and transparency burden, which is good, but there creates a lot of paperwork. But the great things about them is that they're much more, say, mission aligned. There's less bureaucracy than government, maybe more than a company, and often they have more thoughtful governance. I would also put into this category things like, say, the X Prize that creates these sort of prize models, and maybe these sort of like public-private nonprofit sort of models where the government is working in tandem with one of these institutions. I think that there's something there, but the question is, how can you actually make this competitive on the scale of say like a billionaire-funded company or something like NASA? Like, can you actually achieve anything that is on that scale? So, and I would say right now the institution model is still lacking, but maybe we can supercharge it with some new tools. And so this is where I think that there's something actually very interesting. So you can look at these sort of institutions and say, how can we make them better? And there are many sort of ways that you can do that. And I think that DAOs actually offer some very interesting capabilities. So I think that there's interesting ways that you can incentivize and align people at scale. You can raise a good amount of money very quickly because there's global liquidity, and there's proof of this. There's precedent of this. Like Kara mentioned, I was a part of Constitution DAO, but that kind of pales in comparison. That was on the order of $40-50 million in a week, but it pales in comparison to some of these other crypto projects where people have raised $1 billion even with some of these tokens, or more, and the scale of this global liquidity is only going to be increasing over time. These communities can be very mission aligned. You're spreading risk between a lot of people. Some of these things, they average, for example, in Constitution DAO's case or MoonDAO's case, it's about $100 contribution on average. So people are more willing to take greater risks with a smaller amount of capital. And so I think there's something here, and I think it's worth exploring this. And so that's kind of what we've been looking into. However, there's some huge pitfalls as well. So what you want to avoid, obviously, is the sort of meme coin mania that we've seen, where ultimately someone is profiting off of others by selling them a token, or insiders are selling early. Liquidity can be pulled. There's low transparency. It's difficult to onboard people. There are a lot of issues with this, and I'm not saying that everything's perfect, but I do think that we can address these issues. We can tackle them head on. And so I think that there's essentially three things that you want to get right. And institutions can benefit from this idea of what I like to call networked capital, and they're very kind of concrete wins here. So in the first bucket is capital formation, so raising money. I think pretty much any sort of institution could benefit from a lot of the rails and speed and liquidity that could be provided online. This could be in the form of say more traditional kind of regular donations to a nonprofit or something like that, but it could be something maybe more interesting as well, with some of the tokenomics and interesting ways where you can raise money and then incentivize people long term and reward them for the growth that they provide, or the growth of the organization. I also think that there's very concrete wins in sort of capital deployment. So you can operate in a very transparent way. You can have signal from the people that fund these institutions, where they maybe vote or they help guide the sort of way that projects get funded. And I think that this is extremely interesting, not just because it's transparent, but then also because there are ways of kind of decentralizing some of the power within these organizations, you can really audit what's going on. And then last one is sort of the network value. So where does value accrue in these models? And I think that there's something very interesting here too, where you can essentially distribute a lot of the rewards to people that have helped fund these missions, and do so in kind of novel and interesting ways that maybe tie into the liquidity that's being provided, or rewards people based off of contributions to these sorts of missions. And you can open source a lot of these very difficult kind of problems and missions, and create prizes or bounties, and have big community of people that are supporting these sorts of things. And that's what's enabled by like creating these networks of people that span around the globe, and can use this sort of infrastructure. And yeah, I think these are very, very tangible and interesting ways to supercharge these sort of institutions. And so this is actually what we've been working on over the past year or two, where we are kind of tackling every sort of every one of these columns that I mentioned in the previous slide. So this is something that we're very proud of, that we've been working on. And essentially, it's a way of raising money on chain. So it leverages a lot of the tool set that MoonDAO has used already, and then made it even better. So we've essentially done a lot of things to address some of the risks that I've pointed out. For example, we have automated locked liquidity. We have automatic refunds in case the funding goal is not met. We've simplified drastically the user onboarding, working with Coinbase with an on-ramp, Privy to make it very easy to generate wallets, so you can onboard someone who's not crypto native. And you get a lot of these benefits of kind of global scale, and tons and tons of people that can participate in a mission very quickly. And we've actually, of course, we've already done this with MoonDAO with our first raise, but we've taken this new tool stack that we've developed, and we were able to use it to raise a little over $10,000 for Space Camp. And so there's a 30-day window. We had 50 people from our community contribute. And it's a small amount, but this was really kind of a way of proving a lot of the technology. Is our kind of beta test that we ran late last year, and yeah, we were able to raise money for Space Camp and sponsor a multi-access trainer. And we had some very, very awesome leaders from the space industry that contribute and use this platform, and so that's really exciting. We also have been operating a method of essentially deploying capital. We funded over 85 projects. Last year, we funded projects to the tune of over $188,000. And actually, we're in a current round of this. Votes close today, so if you're in the MoonDAO community, don't forget to vote. But we had 20 project submissions this quarter, and 9 of them have moved on to community voting, and so tomorrow we'll be closing that vote. So join us for the next town hall, and stay tuned to see which projects ended up getting funded. But this is a model that we've been iterating on quite a lot, and essentially. We have people from the community propose projects, and then we review them within the MoonDAO leadership, and then have the community vote between them. So yeah, so we're not just working on raising money, but then also operating on chain with that capital. And yeah, so like I mentioned, we've been iterating on this quite a lot, and yeah, it's very interesting, the sort of things that you can do using this on-chain technology, where you can have many people voting on these things. So yeah, but then also where does value accrue in this? And this is where the network comes in. We have 165 citizens. So these are people that are within the MoonDAO community that can get rewarded for their contributions. We also distribute fees from trading. These are sort of like mechanisms that weren't really quite possible before, but we can basically create a platform for individuals to kind of tap into the network and then build on top of it. So they can receive grants for their projects. They have access to the Launchpad, and we have over 20 organizations that we've onboarded into this network. They have a jobs board where they can recruit from the network, and we have a marketplace as well. So these are sort of things where we're taking the tools and then trying to essentially deliver value to people that are mission aligned and grow from say just maybe a closed door institution to something that looks like a decentralized network of people that share a mission. Some of our key stats. So we have, like I mentioned, 20 organizations, 165 citizens, and yeah, we're very proud of sort of the growth of the network, and it's only really been around for about a year. So we're quickly iterating on this and making it better and better. So these are sort of the ways that we've tried to say tame the crypto dragon. We have audited treasuries, locked liquidity. We use quadratic voting to make sure that there aren't any whales that can influence our governance. We've built a robust constitution for the organization, and these are ways that we're kind of trying to address some of the issues that we've seen with crypto. And so, like Frank mentioned, DAO space. I don't know if it's quite audacious to say that this is the DAO era of space, but I do think that there's something here where you can have thousands of individuals that are coordinated and working together from around the globe that draws from some of these previous models where you have essentially an on-chain institution that is supporting a mission long term and raising funds for it on a continuous basis for many projects, and essentially having a lot of people win alongside with it. And the key thing that I want to pull from Frank is this sort of return on inspiration idea. I think this is there's really something there where what we really want to do at the end of the day is have people dream bigger and feel as though the future is more positive than the present, and so I think we really need these things that inspire us. We're not just talking about it. Like we have real figures behind some of the stuff that we've been doing. We've had over 220 proposals that have come into the community, and we've sent 2 people to space. Some of these things are quite crazy even to me, but I think it's amazing that what so many people have been able to do using the sort of on-chain scaffolding that we've provided at MoonDAO. And I'm very proud of the community and all of the people that have done projects in MoonDAO and done things with us, because it's really cool to see kind of all corners of the world supporting this shared dream. So yeah, we're in 32 different countries, or we have citizens from 32 different countries. We've done events even in the last year all over the world, in Baikonur, in Brazil, so we're really trying to become this sort of like institution that reaches people from countries that may not have a space program, but can still give them the ability to participate in something really big and interesting. Here's some photos from some of our events, because it really is about the people at the end of the day, and some of the stuff we've done over the last year. Here we were in London with Charlie Duke, Nicole Stott, and Doug Hurley, and we've our second astronaut, Iman, and Ryan, executive lead at MoonDAO, went down to Brazil to inspire children, and their artwork actually went to space on a rocket, and so it's really cool. we saw a little clip from the documentary with Iman, but we did a premiere down there in Nashville. We're active in a few different conferences as well. Here's Ryan at Dev Connect, and yeah, a Baikonur launch, like I mentioned. So I do want to say I'm wrapping up right here, but we have a really awesome announcement, and so really stay tuned for the end of this, where we'll go into that announcement. But it is it's something we've been working on for a while. I'm just going to leave a little teaser here, but essentially, yeah, really excited for this, and at the end of this summit, I guess, online summit, we'll be announcing this. But in the meantime, we're actually hiring a smart contract developer. So if that's you, if you are interested in what we're doing, email us at info@moondao.com. This Thursday, we're going to be voting on the projects that get funded. I recommend people check out that town hall. And then the following week after that, we're going to be doing a MoonDAO 101. So if you're interested in joining the community, you can attend that town hall. We'll have links in the bio. I'm sure we'll make sure that we can get this to you. Anyone who's RSVP'd, we'll send you a follow-up here. But we'd love to see you at the MoonDAO 101 town hall. And yeah, that's all I've got.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pablo. That was fantastic.